Hey y'all, Bill Quirk with Shoot GTR and the Defensive Training Group, here today to do a video about summertime carry. So I've got on my brighter summertime colors to try and reflect the mood. In Florida, it's getting to be summertime now. We're at the end of June. And as you all know, it gets hot. It gets very hot, very humid. And how we dress, the weather can have a significant impact on our clothing choices and whatnot. And by extension, that can have an impact on how we carry and perhaps even what we carry. Doesn't need to be a significant impact. There are things we can do to make sure that we are still setting ourselves up for success and prepared with the equipment that we need in the unlikely event that something does happen. So as I've said before, my first rule of a gunfight is to have a gun with which you can fight. The most important consideration with your defensive tools is they've got to be able to accomplish the mission, specifically of saving your life in that unlikely event. So a lot of people, when they get into hot weather carry, will significantly reduce the size of the gun for convenience, for comfort, and because the clothing choices that they have to pick from are not as heavy, not as thick, and printing and stuff like that becomes more of an issue. I would caution you against that. Make sure you're not setting yourself up to fail by putting yourself in a position where if you did need the tool is not going to be sufficient for the task at hand. So go back to my first rule. First rule of a gunfight is to have a gun with which you can fight. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different setups here that will allow you to carry all of your normal equipment in lighter summertime stuff, including swim trunks, tank tops, and whatnot. This is just an Under Armour sun shirt, so it is a light wicking, clinging type of fabric. And these are just ordinary running shorts, so they don't have the structure, the rigidity that, say, my normal 511 shorts have with my belt and all that kind of stuff. I don't wear a belt on these. These are drawstring only. But we can still do things that will allow us to be prepared in the unlikely event that something happens. So to start, add some decent choices, but maybe not ideal choices, and then move up from there. Kind of the ubiquitous hot weather carry is going to be a J-frame 38 carried in your pocket. And this can be a good choice. It certainly is not a terrible choice. As we've discussed before, the challenge with these smaller revolvers is they are a bit more difficult to shoot, and frequently they are marketed as beginner guns, and they're really expert guns. These do require some decent experience and a good solid foundational base, your fundamentals, in order to use these effectively. But for a lot of people, depending on the risk that you face in your daily life, which for most people is pretty low, this is not necessarily a bad choice. Wouldn't be my first choice, but it's not necessarily a bad choice. When we talk about pocket rigs, this is from Sam Andrews Custom Leather. This is a leather one. This is set up for a righty because when I used to carry this, I wore it on my support side. So pocket holsters, you can get them in Kydex, you can get them in leather. This is a leather one from Sam Andrews Custom Leather. This one's actually a right-handed design because when I used to carry this, I carried it in my support side pocket as a backup to my primary gun because remember, I'm a lefty. But the way this one is designed, the outside is supposed to be on the outside of your clothing, or the outside of the inside of the pocket, if you will, is smooth so you don't have any printing issues. And then on the inside, that's where you've got your molding for the retention in the pocket, in the holster. And the way this is designed, this little edge here as you're drawing the gun, this catches on the inside of the pocket, pulls the holster free as you're withdrawing the pistol. So these can be viable. One thing that I will tell you about pocket carry, and this is a big one. This, begging your indulgence, this is the old conundrum of the hand in the pickle jar. You might be able to stick your hand into the jar, but once you grasp whatever's in there and try to withdraw it, once you make a fist, this is now too big to get out of the mouth of the jar. Same thing happens with pocket carry. The pocket might be big enough for you to insert the holstered pistol. It might be big enough for you to get your hand into the pocket and then grasp the pistol. But once you make that fist and try to withdraw the pistol, you'll find that it binds, there's a problem. So when you're checking the size of your pockets relative to the pistol, make sure that you take that into account and that you can actually withdraw the pistol smoothly without any snags or whatnot. The current pocket gun, I don't do a pocket gun very often, but of what I've got now, the one that I would choose would probably be the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0, which is a 380, but it is a 12-round gun with a slightly extended magazine. Very, very good shooting gun, very reliable gun, and it's even slimmer and lighter than your average J-frame 38, even the air weights. But so this is pocket. This is something that might be a viable choice for you. Moving up from there, we get into traditional holster systems that are mounted on some sort of internal belt. One of the problems we encounter with these lighter shorts and whatnot, swimsuits and running shorts and drawstring shorts and whatnot, is that you don't have a belt on with the belt, with the shorts themselves. There are no pant loops, that kind of thing. And the shorts themselves don't have because of the fabric from which they're made, they don't have the same structure that jeans or even cargo shorts might have. That presents a challenge when you're trying to attach a holster to those lighter fabrics and whatnot. So a way that we can get around that, originally we had belly bands and whatnot, which mostly in my experience were not very good. They were not structured properly. They didn't have a real holster. They just had a pocket that was one size fits nothing kind of thing. But we've evolved quite a bit since then, and I'm going to show you one that is a very, very good system called the Enigma from a company called Filster. And that is this one right here. And so the way that this one works is you have an internal belt that you put on underneath the clothing. And their standard version has what's called a leg leash, and it's a lanyard that attaches down here that goes around your leg, and that provides stability so that when you draw the pistol, the entire package doesn't come out of inside your waistband. I don't like that, so I replace it usually. I don't have one on here, but I replace it with a single discreet carry concept clip here. The nice thing about the leg leash, if it's properly adjusted, and their website has all the tips and secrets on how to get it properly adjusted, it does allow you zero signature because this entire setup is inside of the waistband, and you can actually tuck the shirt in over it, giving you can have a tucked in shirt with zero signature. And I know a lot of people that use this as their regular carry system, even if they're wearing more structured clothes, jeans and heavier shorts and that kind of thing. So very, very good system. The leg leash allows you to have zero signature because there's nothing visible outside of the pants or a tucked in shirt. For me, I don't tuck the shirt in, so I get away with putting a clip right here, and that goes over the waistband of the shorts and just keeps it connected to the shorts. The belt provides most of the actual structure and rigidity or attachment to my body, if you will. But this just makes sure that it stays connected to the shorts, so when I draw the gun, it doesn't pull everything out. So the next one, going along with that I'm going to talk about, this is the first version, and there are a couple of different manufacturers making things like this. This is from Alias, from Neomag, and it's one of their Alias, excuse me. The company is Neomag, and this is part of their Alias line, and it's a beltless system. So this Tegris panel goes inside of the waistband, and the holster attaches to this using they sell different clips. This is an Alias clip right here. So this fits in and locks in like that. And then this kind of gives you that stiffness, that rigidity to stabilize the holster even when it's attached to more loosely fitting types of shorts. You're going to need to crank the drawstring down quite a bit, but this will work. And then these are utility clips that will fit in over the fabric, and then you lock them in place. And this gives you a good degree of rigidity. I don't know that you would necessarily want to carry a full-size pistol. This is a Glock 45. But you could, and I have. When I use this primarily, this type of thing, and there's an upgraded one I'm going to show you is what I actually use these days. But I'll use this when I'm on a day off, if you will, and I'm wearing running shorts and just a t-shirt or a tank top. And I come by the range, but I want to practice from a conventional holster draw type of orientation as opposed to my fanny pack or my chest pack, which is what I use as well. I'm going to show you those in a second as well. So I have this so that I can put on a conventional holster in my conventional appendix position and then still get some practice reps, even though I'm not dressed the way I normally would when I wear that type of equipment. So this was the first version, which was just the beltless system. The new one, and they have some fancy terms for this. They don't call this a belt because it's a beltless system, so they have some name for this, some little acronym. But it's the same idea, it's just now it's got its own internal belt. So you put this on, just like with the Alias that I showed you. Underneath the clothing, you can put different holsters in here, depending if you want to carry your SIG P365 one day, your Glock 43X the next day, your Staccato the day after, whatever the case may be. You can switch those things out very quickly because the Alias system gives you that flexibility. This just pops in, locks into place, and then when you want to remove it, there's a button and it comes right out. So this is what I currently use. Like I said, when I come out and I'm not really dressed for it, but I want to do some practice from my conventional appendix position, this is the kind of thing that I'll use. I like it a lot, works really, really well, gives me the stability that I need. Again, it attaches to, it's inside the waistband. It does attach to the waistband of the shorts to give me that point of connection, but the actual stability comes from the internal belt, not from the shorts themselves. So those work, and like I said with the Enigma, when I first started playing with the Enigma, I set it up so that I could carry my normal gear, which was gun, and I tend towards full-size guns for reasons we've discussed, a spare magazine, a handheld flashlight, my tourniquet, and my trauma kit. I wanted to have all that stuff with me. And while I was able to do it with the Enigma and also with this Neomag Alias system, the comfort did go down a little bit just because it was inside the waistband, so I was putting a lot inside the waistband of the shorts, even though they were flexible drawstring types. They were against my skin because I wasn't wearing an undershirt in those circumstances like I normally do with my other stuff. The comfort really wasn't there. And it worked, but it was less than ideal. So if you're like me and you want to carry all the normal equipment that you carry in your traditional, your conventional setup, you also want to be able to carry it in these hot weather conditions, then there are some other ways we can do that and still maintain a great degree of comfort and not give up a whole lot as far as speed and accessibility. So what I'm talking about is going to be the fanny pack. And so I've got one of my primary carry fanny packs on right now. I've got a smaller chest bag that I'm going to show you, and then I have the Savior Obscura that we've done a couple of videos on so far, myself and our ops manager, Bennett, talking about this. So these are just some other thoughts on how you can carry your full spectrum of equipment and still be very comfortable, very discreet, and do it in lighter clothing that you might have in hot weather. So I'm going to show you my fanny pack now, just so you can kind of see how I've got this configured. And it is a larger pack, but with the shirt draped over it, I've never had anybody question this. I've had people say to me, I'm wearing running shorts and a tank top, bright yellow tank top, and they'll go, "You're a cop, aren't you?" I don't know where that came from. I guess I just have that look, but no one has ever looked at the fanny pack and said, "There's a gun in there, isn't there?" Despite what you may have heard, the internet myths out there, these do not scream gun, especially if you get some color other than tactical black. A lot of the fanny packs that we used to see had MOLLE on the front and Velcro to put your patches. You know, and if you have a patch that says "Don't shoot, not a bad guy, I'm a good guy," whatever these morale patches, yeah, that's going to kind of give you away. So you do want to maintain some discretion. Blue, gray, colors like that, they're not going to necessarily scream gun, and I've never had anybody give this a second consideration. So what this allows me to do, in the main pouch here, I've got my wallet, my credentials, and I've also got my flashlight, the mod light, one of the single cell, the 18350 variants, still very, very bright. I've got my tourniquet, in this case a Cat 7, and I've got my trauma kit. And these I make for my own purpose. You can buy pre-assembled kits, but I knew exactly what I wanted. So I went to Amazon and I got a bunch, like 1,000 of these mid-size, heavy-duty Ziploc bags, and then I sourced my own components. So I've got some chest seals, I have hemostatic agent, a pack of compressed gauze, and then some gloves. And that's all that I'm gonna need for my single-serve trauma kit. I also have just a Ziploc of Band-Aids as well, because I frequently find myself needing these. So that all fits up in here. Discreet, it's comfortable, no big deal. I got all the same equipment that I normally carry on my person. In the main compartment, and there are a couple of ways you can access this. I've done videos on these before and I've showed some of that stuff, but I prefer, for consistency across all my bags, I preferred having a pull tab of some sort. So this unfolds this way, and this folds down, and then I've got my pistol. And as I said, I like carrying full-size guns. So what I've got here is my full-size Smith & Wesson M&P with a 5-inch barrel, full-size weapon light, full-size optic. This is a 17-round gun, and this fits in here very, very comfortably, very conveniently, not any problems whatsoever. There are the pull tabs. If you want to set it up so that you can access using the pull tabs, that's fine, but I like the zipper. I discussed that in another video, so I'm not going to get into that right now. So this is from 945 Industries. This one is set up as a fanny pack. They've got different attachment points on the back here, so you can configure this in different ways depending on where you want to carry it. This one is set up for waist carry, fanny pack carry. This one right here is configured for chest carry. And so this would go over like this. And you can wear any fanny pack as a chest pack. The challenge you run into, the issue you run into is when the strap is attached, the lower point of connection is here, as it is for the waist configuration. You have a tendency for the pack to want to shift on that axis. And it's a little bit less comfortable, a little bit less stable. So one of the nice things about the 945 packs, this is another 945 pack. The blue one is the extra large size, this is the small size, is it gives you these additional points of contact. So now this comes in and attaches here, and that stabilizes the bag so that it doesn't flop. If you were going to be wearing this in more dynamic situations, you're jogging or even maybe hiking where you're having to do some light climbing and whatnot over obstacles and whatnot, they give you another waist strap that goes around that connects on these other points that provides even more stability on your body. So this one is set up again. I've got a pull tab. This comes in, and now this is my Shield X from Smith & Wesson, the carry comp version, and I've got this here. So smaller gun, smaller pack. I still have in the front compartment here, I still carry my trauma stuff. So this one is, this is a smaller tourniquet, but I still carry a tourniquet and my other stuff jammed in here. And there's plenty of room to do so, even in the smaller bag. Finally, you've got the Obscura that we did a video on this last month or so. And this is a slightly larger bag, so if you were looking for something that would carry all of your daily essentials, this has got the front compartment here, which is set up so that if you unzip it, it doesn't just flop forward. It's got these gussets so that it stays like that, but you've got a bunch of different pockets in here to put different things. I've got my usual trauma gear, my same trauma pack that I talked about, my self-made ones, and then my tourniquet. And then it's got the gun compartment back here that I've showed you in the other videos. So if you were looking for something that could carry all your stuff, your cell phone, your cell charger, your keys, your wallet, flashlight, your medical gear, all different types of things. They do make some bigger ones, and these come in all kinds of colors again to try and reduce this signature and make them not quite so obvious. And in the bags, obviously we have plenty of room to put these, but if we're going back to one of these belt systems or a pocket or something, don't neglect your spare ammunition. So for the revolver, we've got speed strips. These are unlike speed loaders, which are the cylinders, and they're kind of bulky. In a pocket, these are nice and flat. This one is another Neomag product. This is their rack, what they call RASC, I think is the acronym. And this is set up with a little pocket clip. So it's still just a speed strip, but it gives you the ability to consistently index that in the pocket. And all you're going to see is that little clip sticking out, so it's very low signature, but your hand knows where to go. We've talked about why magazine pouches are generally a good idea, because they consistently orient the magazine for retrieval when you're trying to get it back into the gun, or in this case, the speed strip when you're trying to load the gun under stress. So not a bad idea. For your magazines, I discourage people from carrying a pistol magazine just loose in the pocket. It's too easy for this to spin around, reverse orientation, and then like we just said, you want consistency when you're withdrawing that from your pocket, especially under critical stress. So if this is not consistent in its orientation in your pocket, that can produce problems. So this is a neat little way to maintain that consistency. And they make other things, pocket magazine carriers and stuff, but this is, again, a Neomag product. This is actually the Neomag. This is the first thing that they came out with. And this has got a little belt clip. It's a magnet, so the magnet holds your magazine in place, and this just goes in the pocket. For me, it would go in like this, because this is on the outside. This holds it consistently in place. I can put that deep. All you see is the clip, and then when I get in there, I can access that magazine the way I would out of an ordinary magazine. The point of all this is, as the temperatures go up and it becomes perhaps a little bit less convenient, less comfortable for you to carry your normal gear, there are things you can do so that you're still set up for success. If preparing for this unlikely event, this low frequency, low probability, high consequence event is important to you, there are things you can do to maintain that even as the temperatures get into triple digits sometimes, as they frequently do in Florida. Supposedly next week we're going to be up in the almost into the 110 area, from what they're saying would be heat dome or something. But set yourself up for success and just plan these things out, and you can go a long way while still dressing in a more appropriate manner for the temperatures that we have out here. So as always, if you've got any questions at all, reach out to me, come into the shop, put us a comment below, give us a like, give us a share, and as always, you all stay safe.